This is Saurabh, and you're listening to my favorite talk show, the Weekly Show with Aditya.
Mogambo, Khushua.
Tonight's episode is divided into three parts. Part 1 is the singing of the song, a song which a majority of my listeners may not connect with, but there will be a section who are now of the salt and pepper age who will definitely remember this song. So let's play this song. You can tell by the way I use my walk, I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. Music loud and women bomb, I've been kicked around since I was born, and now it's alright, it's okay, and you may look the other way. We can try to understand the New York Times effect on man. Whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother or you're staying alive, staying alive. Fitness with the breathe and everyday shaking people, staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. Low. Well, now I get low and I get high, and if I can't either, I really try. Wings of heaven on my shoes, I'm a dancing man and I just can't lose. You know it's alright, it's okay, I live to see another day. We can try to understand the New York Times effect on man. Whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Feel the city breaking and everyday shaking people, staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk, I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. Music loud and women warm, I've been kicked around since I was born, and now it's alright, it's okay, and you may look the other way. We can try to understand the New York effect, times of man, whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Feel the city breaking and everyday shaking people, staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive.
Mogambo, Khushua.
Those who follow WWE closely, at least enough for the fact that it is entertaining, well, one of the major aspects of a WWE event is that the way their bigger stars return. If the WWE team management has decided that this particular wrestler will be its breakout star, will be the star they will be solely focusing on, despite the presence of many other talented wrestlers. When these individuals return, they return with a bang, and the same happened at the SummerSlam pay per view. If you read the articles carefully on the print and the electronic media, most of them have said that the SummerSlam pay per view event was, as the tagline goes, you never see it coming. And despite that, it was a bit monotonous because a change of title was something that was expected. Bray Wyatt, as his alter ego, winning the Universal Championship, Asuka, who had two coveted championships to challenge for one of the championships. Then a few championships were defended, like the Raw Tag Team Championship or the United States Championship, and even the WWE Championship, which was an instant classic, which could be compared to the theme around which the Edge Orton match was publicized, the greatest wrestling match ever. Yes, Drew McIntyre retained the championship since his tenure has been extended just a bit longer. Yes, if he could survive the likes of Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, means who else are in the eye line for a WWE championship? The way the WWE organizes its pay per views and regular broadcasting of its Raw, SmackDown, and NXT fixtures. And after every big event, a NXT wrestler is graduated and he becomes a part of the main roster, that is the Raw or SmackDown roster, and the way they included and inducted Keith Lee into this Raw roster. Won't be surprising if in future pay-per-views or regular tapings there is a WWE World Heavyweight title match between Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre. But when that happens, that remains to be seen. But as I was saying, there is always a dramatic return of a wrestler in these events. It has happened before at this year's Royal Rumble when Edge returned and a few NXT wrestlers got their chance. Turn of this particular wrestler or superstar, as surprising as it may be, is not surprising at all for me, because this is not the first time a WWE wrestler has returned after a short break, but the dramatic way in which his return was shown was given the entire thing. It was kept secret, as one would say. If you remember when I talked about the WrestleMania event when Braun Strowman had faced Goldberg for the Universal Championship, I had told you that Braun Strowman wasn't the original person slated to face Goldberg, but the original opponent who was slated to face Goldberg had to take a break due to personal reasons, and for 4 months this particular individual's return was not even discussed by anyone inside or outside the WWE management. As it happens during this profession, in this profession, nothing is what it is seemed to be. What is being seen and what is actually happening are two different things. And yes, that is why the return of this wrestler was seen as a huge event, a huge shock. Why? Because this wrestler returned right at the culmination of the main event, that is the match between Bray Wyatt's alter ego and Braun Strowman. You must all be wondering, at least a few of you must be wondering, who is this wrestler? Why am I not revealing his name? If you remember before, this is not the first time this particular wrestler had taken a break due to personal reasons, but that break was publicized. Everybody knew about it. It was given a lot of coverage. But during WrestleMania, when this wrestler had decided to take a break, it was a bit of a surprise. And therefore, his return was equally surprising. And this wrestler now gets a chance in a triple threat match in another pay per view to compete against the likes of Braun Strowman and the Universal Championship Bray Wyatt. So, for the Universal Championship in a triple threat match, it will be Wyatt versus Strowman versus Reigns. As I said before, right from its inception, WWE has had a habit of introducing or reintroducing a wrestler who is on a break in a manner which even the best of movie writers won't be able to imagine. This is precisely the reason Roman Reigns' return was seen as a shock to the entire WWE universe. But I'm sure the people behind the scenes, the individuals who matter, all were aware, because that is how they had planned his return after his break, which meant he missed out on 3-4 championship opportunities. But this is not the first time a wrestler returns and he or she immediately gets a chance to compete in a championship match. But the way his entire thing has been shown, the way his previous break was shown, there was a bit of what one would call an empathy towards this particular wrestler. And in other sports, if you as an athlete, whether it's hockey, football, cricket, shooting, badminton, chess, or any other sport, take a break due to injury or personal reasons, and if the break is for more than 3 to 4 months, then your place is taken by another emerging athlete. But in the profession of WWE, this is a slightly different scenario. Yes, wrestlers take a break. It could be a year's break, it could be less. But yes, wrestlers often take a break. For example, John Cena has not been seen since his match at WrestleMania. Will he return? Well, that depends on how he and the WWE team management come to an understanding. But he would return, it wouldn't be a surprise. Is age a factor which is putting him on that thought process not to return? Are we in for a surprise? Is Cena looking to break the record at which he is tied? Right now, he's tied with Ric Flair at 16 World Championships. Could be a factor that tomorrow Cena and McIntyre would face each other for the WWE Championship. Such a plan is afoot, then that is something nobody knows about. It is being kept close to the chest. The WWE team management, even if they plan for the next 6 months, they do not reveal such plans. The best part about this pay-per-view event was that they finally shifted from a smaller venue, that is a training slash performance center, to a bigger venue which they called the Thunderdome, which is the usual kind of venue where they would tape their daily and weekly events. And the best part is that they are allowing the fans or the audience to watch through virtual means. This is something which the other sports bodies could look into. I mean, the pyrotechnics, the way the virtual world is reacting to being there and not being there at the same time. Yes, the virtual part is expensive, but when I saw the match between England and Pakistan, it was as dull as it could be, because without the spectators, you may as well believe they are playing a friendly match. And compare this to what is happening at the WWE, what they call the Thunderdome, where they have allowed the fans and what they call the WWE universe to experience the matches through their electronic devices, and the noise that reverberates throughout the stadium is something that every athlete yearns for. And that is why, taking a cue from NBA and this profession, other sporting bodies should look at it. Instead of debating like school children whether they should allow spectators to be a part of the experience that is being there physically, and then the fear of the spectators contracting the virus or any other such untoward incident happening, it's better to include this virtual part. Yes, it's expensive, but give it a try. But the irony is that WWE may not be the perfect professional sport to take examples from. Then take the example from NBA. They are also allowing people to come in virtually. But my thing is, have some crowd noise. Let it be mechanical, let it be recorded, but there should be some kind of crowd noise. Otherwise, it's as dull as watching on TV or watching on the ground. That is something the organizers who are just putting their time on testing players for things which may or may not be as it is. They should invest this money which they are investing in players testing, players lodging, separate rooms, separate ventilators, booking an entire floor or an entire suite. It would be better if they pool in their money to allow people to come in virtually. For that, first sports event have to start in India, which is already such a big deal, such a big debate, which has both sides. A group says start the sporting events because the players need to get back into the livelihood and physical mode. Another group says that don't start because the players have to travel what if they catch the flu, and then who will take care of them if one individual, whether it's a player or whether that individual is a part of the coaching staff, the locker room staff, catches the flu, then the entire tournament will have to be scrapped. With such limited thoughts which are there in the mind of the organizers, forget crowds coming in through the virtual world. First, they have to organize the match, and you know what are they in fear of, which is preposterous, but that is the way things are, and that is what surprises me the most. So is Roman Reigns' return a huge shock? Well, the way they planned it, the way he made his comeback, it looks like that. But this is not the first time a WWE wrestler has made his or her comeback after taking a short break, especially when that break included not competing for a championship when you were all ready for it.
Mogambo. Joshua.
Let's get cracking and read something from the PG Wodehouse novel. I learned that there was trouble between Madeline and Gussie. Due, I have since been informed to her forcing him to follow in the footsteps of poet Shelley and become a vegetarian, and I felt that I might accomplish something as a reasoner. As a waterner, I thought that would be a bit above your head. It's a French expression meaning I believe, though I would have to check with Jeeves, a calm, kindly man of the world who intervenes when a rift has occurred between two loving hearts and brings them together again, very essential in this present crisis. You mean that if Madeline hands Gussie the pink slip, she'll marry you? That broadly is about the strength of it. And while I admire and respect Madeline, I am all against the idea of having her smiling face peeping at me over the coffee pot for the rest of my life. So I came along here to see what I could do. Well, you couldn't have come at a better moment. Now you are here, you can get cracking on that job Harold told you I want you to do for me. I saw the time had come for some prompt in the bud nipping. Include me out, I won't touch it. I know you and your jobs. But this is something quite simple. You can do it on your head. Will be bringing sunshine and happiness into the life of a poor slob who can do with both. Were you ever a Boy Scout? Not since early boyhood. Then you have lots of leeway to make up in the way of kind deeds. This will be a nice start for you. The facts are as follows. I don't want to hear them. You would prefer that I recalled Bartholomew and told him to go on where he left off?
Mogambo. Joshua.
This ends episode number 252 on the 26th of August 2020.
Mogambo. Joshua.
For more awesome content, tune in to the next episode of the weekly show with Aditya.